Greetings, one and all, and welcome to the Marketing Matters podcast. My name is Steven Atema, joined by my co host.
Victoria.
So, if you're new to this channel or this is your first time interacting with our video, here we talk about marketing trends, we talk about strategy, we talk about technology updates, and even career development. So, in our last update, we were talking about the TikTok ban, and this is the TikTok ban in the US. And we had promised an update on the developments on that end. So we'll start with that today, talking about what happened or what has happened since Trump got inaugurated, because there was an expected ban and TikTok was supposed to go dark in the US region, and then Trump got inaugurated and he promised that he was going to restore TikTok, because he said he had this was actually his quotes. I have tried the app now, and I think I have changed my mind after I tried the app. So he said he was going to extend the period before when the app will be banned. So after the inauguration, actually on the day of the inauguration, he signed several executive orders, 26 in total, one of which was particularly on the ban for TikTok, and he gave them an additional 75 days to get their act together. Remember the main reason why TikTok was being banned was because they had uh, what's the word? Congress and Senate had set a requirement that TikTok needs to be majority owned by an American company before it can be allowed to operate in the US. So this 75-day
Yeah.
ban extension does not mean that then it's a period for them to renegotiate whether TikTok will be allowed to be in the whether TikTok's terms are changing. They're just saying that in this 75 day period, TikTok has been given more time to find American buyers. So that means should the period, which 75 days from when the inauguration was should be around end of March. That means then that by end of March, if TikTok will not have found an American buyer, or will not have accepted to cede shareholding to an American company, then they will actually be banned. But the way these things work, you can never be too sure. So as it stands now, TikTok is available in the US, though it's available only for people who already had the app. So if you had not downloaded the TikTok app, then you will not be you can't access it on the App Store and on the Google Play Store, but you can access it via the web. But I don't know who uses web to access apps in the US. So it's still there, but it's available only for people who already had the app. Now the people, assuming you are in the US and you had been told TikTok was going to go dark and you uninstalled the app, if you wanted to download it today, you would not. But you can use the web version. So that is actually the update on the TikTok situation. We are waiting to see. There is no official communication actually from either of those companies that support Apple, Google, and TikTok themselves, because it's a legal quagmire that they are in. They are not sure exactly what this extension would mean for them, and especially the companies like Google and Apple, they don't want to be in any legal to face any legal liability, given that the fine for that for them being in breach is $5,000 per user. So that is quite a huge disincentive for them to play around with the law. Now we wait. Trump seems to even want to extend. People had doubted Trump to be that. In fact, not Trump. It was the Senate and the Congress. Actually, more Congress wanted to extend the ban before Trump was inaugurated to 270 days, which was almost like a year. But then, of course, the Supreme Court and they were not able to get that item first. So that is actually the update on the TikTok situation. I don't know if you have any thoughts.
That's true. Those were the uh, updates that we needed to share with you. Though I think just on a lighter note, I also saw um, Trump being interviewed by the press, and they were really pushing him to respond to that matter. And one of the things that he mentioned was, I looked around and I even checked how China is doing the different things that he's doing, and I realized that TikTok is they have so many, they have other problems that TikTok is an issue to them. So, so you should not focus on it. And then also another comment that he also mentioned is, I think uh, the value that we give to TikTok, for us as an Americans, then for them to really continue being in this country, then we need to take 50% shares.
Yes.
So those are the
Mhm.
things that he was mentioning, and I just found them so interesting. And I don't know,
Actually,
like when you say 50%, I'm not
mm.
sure if that is,
In fact,
is it
50, it is
valuable
supposed to
to,
be 50%. Remember, the requirement is that it be majority owned by an American company. So 50% is actually what is the expectation. If anything, it should be not less than 50%. Because if it is still majority owned by the Chinese government or ByteDance, then that creates a whole issue on the end.
yeah, and then also something else that he mentioned is he now used TikTok, so he
Yeah.
understands. And then he also mentioned that the majority of the people who are using TikTok are young generation, like young people. So that one is a non-issue. Yet he has not realized that people have shifted to the platform. So that was just interesting.
Yeah, and it's actually good because we even talked about. I don't know if it was, can't remember what, but it was in one of the videos we did where we were saying these days
The social media
there is no
trends.
longer a platform for a specific demographic where you can say Facebook is
Yeah.
for old folks, TikTok is for young guys. Everybody these days is using these social media platforms. So, but I think it's just politics because remember again the same Congress that had unanimously voted for the ban was the one towards the end of the election when they saw that it was creating a whole public discourse about banning TikTok and people saying I don't have data that China would need. So there is also the populist agenda which was then now let us also then extend it until when you give 270-day extension it's essentially not a ban. You are just waiting for people to forget about the whole situation. So it
Like a year.
politicians are the same all over. Even Trump himself, despite being the one who even initiated this whole discussion about TikTok and China not being allowed to operate in America, comes again and says that now I have saved TikTok for another 75 days. So it's just political expediency and you that's why I suspect even come the March, what they're just using this is like a negotiation tactic to ensure that China plays ball. So they're using TikTok to help to do their own other additional discussions, maybe in terms of the trade negotiations that they're going to have with China, so that they say, okay, we can allow you to do this, maybe with some constraint, but then you have to maybe allow American companies into the US. So they're using TikTok, in my view, as ransom for them to get their way in terms of the bigger things probably that Trump and his administration have. Another interesting thing that also came out was there are bidders now for TikTok. Of course, there was Meta who wanted to buy, Musk wanted to buy, and people were like, "It." They would rather they would rather go to the is it red one or something, the other option, than allow Trump to buy TikTok because of what he's done with with X. But this other big YouTuber called
Elon.
what's his name, Mr. Beast, has also put his bid to acquire the app. Of course, in a consortium of other investors. So things will get
I also
delicate
think,
as it approaches the deadline.
yeah, I also think the extension is also another way to help the, or to make the TikTok owners and the
Mm,
China government to feel the clinch. Like when you're now seeing, okay, I no longer have new subscribers on the platform. Now, I'm no longer making like the in terms of the effect of the payments that you receive, maybe the adverts that was going on, because the the platform, when you talk about the payment options or the revenue, if they were generating revenue, then it was mostly coming from the US. So maybe
mm,
probably it's also another way to show them that we are also part of. We can affect your business if you
mm.
don't help us. Then just if you're not working with us, then just know that your business is going to be affected in a huge way.
Yeah, definitely. America is a big player. It's when you're in negotiations with America, you are always usually on the disadvantage side because of the market size and the might, both political and military power. Anyway, that's all that we that's that for TikTok. Now let's, interestingly, this other news segment or this other news item is related to TikTok. Now, I bet most of you did not know um, that your favorite app for editing videos is actually also owned by the owners of TikTok. Yes, I'm talking about CapCut. CapCut is actually owned by TikTok. So, part of the ban involved ByteDance's TikTok CapCut app. So it means that also US users are not able to access CapCut on Android or Apple Play Store. So that means that if you didn't have CapCut and you're trying to enter you're trying to have a user friendly video editing tool, of course, then you're not going to access the app as it stands. But if you had it previously, then you don't have to worry about that. But it was just an interesting note that most people did not even know that ByteDance owned CapCut. If you're actually keen, you would notice that even the theme of CapCut, it's like they transferred the ethos of TikTok, which is people just want to come to the video, point a camera, shoot, and you do everything for them. That ethos was transferred into CapCut, and that's why CapCut works very seamlessly with videos that are supposed to be posted for TikTok. It was
Yeah,
actually
and
designed
actually,
by TikTok for
actually, that's why it gives you the first option to share on TikTok after you've
yes.
already edited the video.
Yes, yes. In fact, most of the videos we see are usually edited on Most of the TikTok videos we see are usually edited on CapCut. Now, because
Yeah.
CapCut is also part of the companies that are facing issues on the with the US on the ban, a company that is also known to be to be an opportunistic company, and also he is a big social media company called Meta, now launched or announced that it was launching its own app called Edits. Well, what happened to creativity in the naming? Surely, it's an app called Edit, and what
Simplicity, simplicity.
no, I think it's in my view, and which some users were not even some people who are also big in the space were saying is it's like Instagram or Meta just saw this opportunity that TikTok is being banned, and they decided to copy paste CapCut into edits, because when of course it has not been launched yet, it's launching in March, but when they were saying what it would do, it clearly resembled what CapCut is currently doing, and it did not seem like edit was coming with something new. Of course, everybody is talking about, or the people touting edits are saying it's going to be it's going to be AI empowered, it's going to make it easier to edit, but more the way people know about how where we are at with AI right now, it is just a discussion about a company adding the AI term to a gimmick in the platform. Maybe it can give you suggestions on how your aspect ratio. It can give you suggestions on where to post the content, but it is more or less going to be an app that heavily mimics CapCut. But since the launch is expected to be March, we can only wait and see. But though I would like to maybe hear your thoughts. What other insights you have about these edits?
I think for me, I'm looking at it from the angle that CapCut has now it eliminated the free version option, where when you joined CapCut, you could be able to use CapCut to edit your videos freely. You have limited features, but you are still able to do the basic editing, and you'll post it on the different social media platform. Now they started by removing some of the tools that people would keep talking about on the social media platform. They'll tell you'll go to get videos like on TikTok. Here is a simple way to remove a background, for example. Here is a simple way to add a text on your video. So they'll look at such features and then they'll put them on the pro version. But right now you can't be able to use it as a free tool. You have to pay for it. You only have the 7 days trial, and then now you have to pay for it. So that is also from my end. As much as I feel like Meta always take advantage and or try to maximize on anything that they see there's a gap, I think here is also a plus for businesses, because most people are looking for tools that they can be able to use without necessarily investing much, because every tool right now is becoming expensive. Every tool requires you to pay on a month to month basis, and
Mm.
probably you're not, especially if you're not using the tool on a frequent basis, then now you pay for a whole month, and maybe you're only editing twice a month, or three times a month, you see. So such small businesses, then they will opt to go for a free tool like the one Meta is talking about.
Mm.
Though we are not sure how is going to turn out. Of course, they're going to launch it, they say, in Feb
March.
2025. We're waiting to see, yeah,
Mm.
Feb, March, around there. We're waiting to see how it will turn around. I think one interesting thing that they mentioned is that they are going to, you'll be able to view insights for the video that you shared on Instagram. It's like they are trying to do what TikTok was doing, because
Mm.
CapCut, you are more of getting all the information, all the video edits you will be able to directly share on TikTok. But now here it's more of Instagram. So they were saying with the more feature, the feature they're going to add is now you can see the insights of the video. If the editing work that you did it drive
Yeah.
results, or did you need to improve on that? So that was a very good option. Then they also mentioned that they'll put it not only on iOS, but later on they'll add it as a mobile, give the mobile version, which is also beneficial, because most people, that is the need they have right now, because of most businesses, especially small businesses, they're the ones who are doing the social media posts and creation. So they want to be able to do when they are not so constrained that I need a laptop. They can do it even as they are working, or even when they are on the go. So I think that is an advantage that we wait to see. It's not yet
Yeah.
out, so we hope that it's going to do as they say.
Yeah, there's what you're talking about, TikTok offering services, their features for free. And I was just trying to confirm the term. It's called a freemium business. It's a freemium model. It's a strategy where you offer services or a solution for free, and then gradually start charging for additional features. Now, in my view, I think they understood that most people, the biggest issue for most creators was the cost of this platform. So they drove traffic to their platform by, first of all, it being free, and then it being one of the easiest editing tools for any content creator out there. And then as they acquired the mass, maybe they figured, if we have 10 million active monthly users, if we start charging, maybe we lose 80% of them. And if we still have 2 million active people paying $10 a month, then we are still okay in terms of the usability of the app, and of course it's starting to generate solutions. And again, remember, TikTok is also a free app. So if people
Yeah,
get more on more usability, if TikTok gets more popular and people continue wanting to create content for TikTok, and it is specifically it is easiest to be done on CapCut, then it makes sense for them to continue supporting TikTok for free, but then start charging for the editing bit, which I think, it as any as a marketer, and also, but as a business owner, we understand that, value has to be also given for
yeah,
money. So I am of the opinion that if somebody is developing a platform that everybody seems to be in agreement is a good tool, then at least people have to be willing to pay something to support, to ensure that that quality is sustained. But that's that about
true.
CapCut. And on to a third news item. So again, back to Trump. Seems to be, this year Trump will be like how Elon was for us last year. He makes news almost every week.
He's the president.
Yeah. So this again, after signing the executive orders on the inauguration day, that which was 19th, the next day he was in his Oval Office signing a big, one of the biggest infrastructure, not infrastructure, one of the biggest tech deals in US history, which is called Stargate. Now you can Google Stargate, but I can give you a summary of what Stargate is supposed to be. Now, Stargate is being championed by three big firms: OpenAI, which is the biggest large language model creator. Then we have a company called SoftBank. This is a big bank. And then we have Oracle. Now these three companies have partnered. Of course, there are other partners at the periphery, like Microsoft. We have Nvidia and all the other chip manufacturers and supporting services. But these companies have come together and have signed a contract with the federal government, of course, through Trump, to build AI infrastructure for America over the next a couple of years, probably in the next decade. But they have already committed to invest 100 billion in the first year. That means this year they are planning to invest 100 billion, largely to build the AI capacity and data centers. So this is what these three firms are, in my view, because of course, based on their competence, I suspect this is what they're going to do. OpenAI is providing the AI models, and of course the intellect and the resources to scale it up, to allow not only for their personal use but also for government in their medical records. In fact, part of the biggest thing that they were touting there was that they are seeing AI being a big player in the medicine space, and they are talking about how with AI and with OpenAI's intelligence and how they can be able to analyze gene data, they can be able to analyze blood samples and be able to come up with cancer vaccines or cancer medicine that is specific to a user, not a general medicine that is done right now, so that they can look at your blood type. Because cancer, one of the things that makes cancer very hard to cure is cancer is you can have a cancer for anything. You can have a cancer for your brain. You can have a cancer for your bone marrow. You can have a cancer, breast, lung, whatever. And each cancer sometimes is even harder to treat because of the way your gene structure is different from the way my gene structure would be. So if AI can come up with looking at the data of existing cancer patient records, existing cancer medication, and then come up with a solution for my own cancer treatment and prescription, then that would first of all help in the combating of that serious, which is one of the most expensive diseases to treat. But also, if it is scaled largely enough, then it will be also able to the cost will also significantly decrease. If you can cut cancer treatment from 3 4 years to 6 months, then you also significantly reduce the cost to the patient and to the insurance companies and of course to the government, because also government plays a big role in trying to support. And that's what the AI, they're touting AI to do. Of course, this is something maybe 3 4 years away, but imagine if that were possible, you could translate it to almost any medical condition that people have right now. Then there is this Oracle. For people who know what Oracle does, largely what they are doing right now is to build the data centers. In fact, they are saying they have already built 50 data centers, and they're going to double that number with this investment. And they'll continue building, and they're not only building the data centers, they're also investing in the infrastructure for the energy plugins and all that. And then SoftBank is largely the bank that is arranging the financing for this model. So I would urge anybody who is interested in the tech space to read more about what Stargate is doing. Of course, there are skeptics like Elon who are saying these guys don't even have the money for for building this solution, because OpenAI and Musk have a quite a history. Musk used to be an early investor in OpenAI, and then he feels like he was forced maybe out because he wanted OpenAI. I think there's an issue about him wanting to be paid for his initial investment in OpenAI or something like that, and then he has his own
No,
grok,
the issue
and so
the
that
issue
creates an
was
issue.
that he wanted it to generate to start being profitable, and it was
Oh
taking too
yes,
long.
earlier.
Yeah,
And now they
yeah,
said it was not possible, so I think he divested, and then suddenly they wanted to be for profit, so he had an issue with
yeah.
that. And then now, of course, that means that if Trump is entering a partnership with OpenAI, yet Musk is he thinks he's his biggest buddy. He's a bit salty on that arrangement. But of course, remember OpenAI is also a big partner with Microsoft. And I was seeing an interview with Satya, the CEO of Microsoft, and he was being asked. Musk said, "You guys don't, OpenAI, this partnership doesn't have the 100 billion needed to do the first phase of the infrastructure." And he said, I don't know about that arrangement, but me, I'm good for my 80 billion, because Microsoft is investing 80 billion USD per year on the AI
Yeah.
development. So it's quite something, especially seeing how a government like US is betting big on AI. Remember, this is 100 billion, but they are saying it can go all the way up to 500 billion, even as the years and the developments go.
Yeah, yeah. I think because of the anticipated project cost to, because they were mentioning that for the project to complete
Mm,
to complete, they might need as much as 500 billion. Maybe that's why Elon Musk was feeling like you haven't even reached 50%. So who's going to contribute the rest of the amount?
yeah.
But I think it's a good initiative. From my end, I would say, since we have been talking about AI, artificial intelligence, there has been a lot going on the online space,
Mm,
and every company is trying to fit in to ensure that they are in line, or their businesses are also in line with what's going on in the technology space. So I think it's a good initiative if a government can come in place, because the moment the government enforces that, then it's like you're giving a go ahead to everyone that, yeah, this is something that we need to implement and to start working on. If you have not thought about it, then so it's a good initiative. And then also what I liked about it is that they mentioned it's going to generate uh, more than hundreds of thousands of
I think it
jobs.
was two
So
hundred
that is
thousand.
also a
Yes.
plus. Yeah, so that's also a plus because it gives people an opportunity to learn and to be competitive in the area, you know.
Yeah.
So
That's
those people, as we had mentioned in our different podcast videos, that you always need to stay competitive in your field and uh, merge the technology that is existing. So right now, someone who has an idea or knowledge or is an expert in what's going on in the AI field, then he becomes a more competent person to join such kind of lucrative jobs. So I think it's a good initiative. It gives people hope, and even the people who are in businesses now, it gives them an, if a government has enforced it, then even people in that country and in other countries, as we know that America sets like a foundation to all these other countries, whether developed or not developed, then now we start putting it as an emphasis that AI is something that you need to know, either as a business or an individual. So I think it's a good initiative.
mm,
Now, for the Microsoft, one of the things I know, because now there's going to be a lot of data that is going to be used, and therefore storage will require so much storage. I think they were being questioned on the agreement with OpenAI,
mm,
and one of the statements that the CEO mentioned is that in their new agreement, OpenAI gives them right of refusal, meaning that Microsoft has the first choice of hosting the AI workloads on the cloud. If in case they don't have the capacity, that's when they can give it out. So I was just trying to think now with the new so many partnerships that OpenAI is having. I don't know for you, Steve. How do you think they will be able to manage the different chaos? Because each and every company has its own way of doing things. So you're trying to
mm.
collaborate these companies to still be able to deliver your results. So how do they ensure that you're not having conflict of interest even as you're merging these companies to work together? Because AI is a big thing, but now these companies also need to benefit at the end of the day.
I think if I'm looking at it in the sense of the existing arrangement, the biggest partner for OpenAI currently is Microsoft, and they are supporting, they are helping Microsoft, of course, enhance their solutions. This is it's Office, whether it's the Azure cloud solutions, whether it's them offering new products to their customers through that Copilot and whatnot. In my view, the companies, both OpenAI and Microsoft, are looking at it in the sense that this is the big currently OpenAI is still the best large language model out there, closed source large language model. So they're looking at it like, while this is still the leader, we as Microsoft are getting a significant, at least 1 2 years ago, a significant lead in how we can also position ourselves to take advantage of this AI surge that is happening right now. And OpenAI is looking at a partner who is ready to fund their investments. Remember, this is a very high capital capital intensive project. So if you have a partner who is aligned with you in terms of the money that you need or the resources that you need, and then this partner is looking at you providing solutions, that in my view works for them. And look at it also this way, because Microsoft is saying that based on the arrangement, even if OpenAI decides to have a partnership with any other entity, Microsoft's interest still ought to be protected, because it still remains one of the biggest investors in the platform. So I think while people are looking at it maybe as a competitive issue, Microsoft is looking at it as them the more people in or the more reach OpenAI has, the better it is for them, because the more data they can train on, the more access to customers they can offer. Like imagine if OpenAI signs a contract or a partnership with government to automate or to use their large language models to make government services efficient, assuming maybe something like for the State Department for Transportation, where they want to issue maybe licenses to people based on their driving habits and whatnot. That data would need to be provided or availed by government to a person who stores this data and a person who can manage this data securely. With the arrangement with OpenAI, that means that Microsoft would be technically secured of the contract for government for that cloud service. So to them, they are looking at it in the sense that the more people OpenAI reaches, of course, the better for them. And even in the training, remember Microsoft is also training their own language models. Though
Mm.
they have been very clear about this and have said we already have OpenAI. So the large language models that OpenAI is training or doing, or the work that OpenAI is doing, is different from the work that Microsoft is doing, even though they tapped one of the OpenAI developers to work for them. So to them, it is they're just getting the best of both worlds. They can develop their solutions knowing what OpenAI is doing. They don't need to replicate or duplicate that solution. And of course, the bigger the reach for OpenAI, the more ability for Microsoft to extend its suite of products to its customers, even if they don't know they're using that service for themselves. Because, like you said, if they whatever work OpenAI needs to do, they still have to rely on Microsoft Azure servers to store that data and to provide any types of support for, especially on the back end. So they're okay with still serving at the back end. And I think we had this conversation some time back where we said B2B business is one of the most, if you're running a business model, one of the most effective business models is B2B. You serve very few customers, your margins are very high, and your contracts can be multi-year. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's that for the news section. If you had any thoughts about, or if you're very as passionate as I am about this conversation of AI, you can please put your comments on the comment section, just so that we can engage further on this topic, and you can even challenge us on whether we have bias towards different topics, and would urge you to like, share, subscribe, and see you in the next one. Bye.
Bye.